call the bully. You can find me with the gang. Got no time to be.
He doesn't even know we're starting. I'm in a garage in Ireland at Driftmaster, no, not Driftmasters, the LZ Festival. It's, I've been judging all day, so it's a mess. I am going to show you this car, which is insane, with crazy details like this, and ask him everything. But first, would you introduce yourself?
I'm Sultan, old friend of yours, but some of your viewers might have seen the old episode when you came to Dubai. And Darren McNamara, Group D, the boys built me this car.
So first of all, it is the most popular video on my channel, or like in the top 2. It was a crazy Dubai one where we go look at their insane car collection. They're amazing hosts. Everything blew my mind. The entire experience, I gained 10 pounds in 1 week. Everything, the food was amazing. Like the scenery was so cool. All the people were so friendly. So thank you so much for that trip. I don't know if you know what I mean, but like I tell people about that trip all the time.
I need to do another one though.
Well, I'm absolutely down. Adam and all the YouTubers want to go, so
yeah,
we will go. And Chelsea's down too. So what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the car? Do you want to talk about your life, what you've been up to? What?
So let's start with the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me all about it. And then we'll show you each piece.
Yeah, so it's obviously LS, as I do, and LS everything. This was a pre-COVID build. We built the engine back home. I put it on a crate. It's a simple LS2. It's not even a stock bore, but just stronger pistons and a few things in the heads and stuff like that. Stock crank, but upgraded bearings and all the good stuff, just for it to last. And then COVID hit. And Darren, you just give Darren time, and this is what he does. He just kept on adding every little piece to it. And yeah, it's honestly drives amazing. And the control arms are really, it's all custom stuff. And it's really, really nice to drive. It's sweet. It's a sweet car.
This is so silly that this entire car is so crazy, but this is probably the first thing everyone asks you about. Why'd you do it, and what are they, and everything else?
I did not know anything about the car. I knew it had an N2 kit, an old school N2 kit, and that's it. This was 3 years ago, two years ago, whatever. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, we need to do it wider, we need to do this. All I asked is I wanted 15s, to be honest. It's still on 15s, and he put in the dog box, the quick change and all that stuff, and he kept on, because it was really wide. He did I met the guy, he came down, he has the machine shop who did this. Super nice guy, and he's like, oh, is it still on? You didn't crash? I was like, yeah, it's still on. It's a nice feature. He's surprised. I didn't know anything about the build till before yesterday. I didn't
really?
Yeah, I know.
So you're just like, build me a beautiful car and just you trust him.
Yeah, cool.
I love that.
Yeah, and then he did all the extra stuff. I did not
Are these aesthetic or functional?
I think they're functional.
What do they do?
It's to cool something. It should be the brakes.
To cool something. I love it.
It should be the brakes, but they're aesthetic. Obviously.
Yeah, and it just they just tapped like long lug nuts.
No,
and
the lug nuts are actually. That's why I think they're functional, because the fins actually go inwards towards the wheel, and the lug nuts go through. That's man of the hour.
Yep, man that built it.
He added all the little pieces, and it all added up together. It's pretty simple and clean inside. It's my helmet bucket.
I love how it's simple inside. Wait, that's just for a helmet?
Yeah, that's what he did. So.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's a helmet bucket, not to scratch your helmet. Oh, cool.
That's funny.
And then talk about but it's pretty much the simple build.
Yeah. You say simple, but this is like one of the most extreme Corollas on the planet, literally. And it's rear mount radiator. It's not dry sump, is it?
No, it's
wet sump.
It's running it's an American kit. I forgot. It's like one of the LS to Sylvia swaps. So the sump it's a front sump. I forgot which company, to be honest.
All right. The next thing I'm going to ask you is, you have an unlimited amount of cars that you can choose from as drift cars, because you probably have, how many drift cars do you have?
A few.
A lot. And it's anything you want. How do you end up with a Corolla?
Corolla's a sweet spot. You've seen the red ones. You saw the first one. I have another one. This is the one I got in Europe. And there was one US import in Ireland, the only left-hand drive one. They actually got the firewall to put in this car to make it left-hand. But I always had a sweet spot for the AE86, and so I drove this as this was Dave's old car actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I bought it from
Oh, wild.
years ago, and then it was the SR20 stock box, stock engine. I loved it, and like Darren knows his stuff when it comes to Corollas. So,
Well, I was gonna say, this is something that, how do you say? Like, I would think that you would end up with some crazy twin turbo LS nutcase mobile because there's nothing stopping you from doing anything you dream, you know what I mean? But you really held yourself back on this, even though it's completely wild looking, you somewhat held yourself back where it's a simple motor and everything else.
Exactly.
You know, it's on small wheels. It's a very interesting build.
I wanted to keep on 15s, to be honest. Like, you've seen a lot of cars, 17s, 18s, Corollas, but to actually make it functionally work on 15s is kind of hard. And so far, it's working really well. We'll see tomorrow.
What's the purpose of the car?
Well, before COVID, I wanted to do a season of either IDC or BDC in Europe, and that's why we built it. But then COVID happened, and IDC is no longer, BDC is under new management. So I'm keeping it here for now because shipping is insane anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it now, and then we'll decide later.
What do you plan to do with it in the future?
Honestly, I would love to take it back, but we'll see because I'm enjoying it. I want to see if I can do a few more rounds in Europe.
Okay.
But so far, it's actually really nice to drive. We'll see. Tomorrow, like pushing with different, cause I did a few laps alone. I want to see it with other cars and then it'll make sense, yeah?
And do you have any other European cars you keep over here?
No, before COVID, there were 3 other cars here and we shipped them back. Did you see the FC, the silver one with the rotary?
No.
So yeah, it was between, maybe it was here when you came. And there was, and every year I usually send Darren like either the Aston or the Sylvia or the 90, the Eurofighter or something. So every year there was something going and coming back. But this one was built here and we're gonna keep it, I don't know, we might send it back or something.
What's your best drift chassis? What's your favorite?
I want to say Aston, but but this is like, it's between this and the Aston, to be honest.
What makes the Aston so special? I mean, like, literally no one else has drifted in Aston Martin, especially not a purpose-built drift one. What's it like?
Honestly, because I'm a big guy and I thought it's going to be tight, it's very spacious and it's very snappy, so it works. But if you, for example, I had the 92, it's a big car, it's for me it's spacious, but it's sluggish if compared to an S chassis, where the Aston actually is very nice to drive. And I think you're tall, so half the driving is if you're comfortable in the
Oh,
car.
absolutely. I agree with you on that.
So
yeah.
that's why I think the Aston's pretty nice.
Have you got much experience drifting supercars and stuff?
No,
None? Do you ever like want to or anything like that? Because you could do that, or you could gravitate towards this, or like there's so many different versions of what you could make drifting and make you excited.
It's honestly, you have a few cars and you put them together, so you know that half the excitement is if you build it yourself and it works. It's like there's a little, it's a little high you get, like, oh, you know, it's working. Like, that's why I like doing it. Well, here's one thing I want your viewers to see, because it's an LS, but in Europe it's weird. They're running a water pump, electrical one, and 2 -12s. And then it winds into 4 lines because they don't have a front mount water pump. And I've seen the cars, the way we set it up is pretty much like you guys, it's warm over there. So we do like either -16 or -20, 2 lines, and that one's going, one's back.
I do just hoses
Yeah.
all the way back, and I use a stock water pump on mine.
See, these guys deleted the front one and have us like 12. It's a weird setup. So I think I'm just curious to see like many of your viewers will say, what?
So all those are water lines right there?
It's a weird setup.
Weird.
But it works.
Yeah.
Because there's the engine mounts is a plate.
Motor plates?
Yeah, motor plates, and the water lines are on the motor plates.
Ah. It's kind of dark, but you can see everything's really nice. Well, you guys can't in here, but everything's really nicely mounted on mounts and stuff. It's beautifully done. Oh yeah, you have a light. There you go.
See what I
That's
mean?
crazy.
Yeah.
And then they just pop right in there.
2 over there. And it's like, I've never seen this setup before.
I don't really build a lot of like race car stuff like that, so like that just looks really weird to me. I'm like, where's the water pump?
That's why, like, it's a different setup. I think it's cool and it's working so far. And yeah.
That's rad. When are you gonna have an American car and come to America?
hopefully one of the drift freaks. We need to make it. We need to make it happen.
Well, I have some coming up. You can also, just like this car, you can choose whatever you want to do. When I talked to you, I probably met you back in 2018, and I was asking you about where you drifted, and you told me in Ireland.
Yeah.
And you told me in Europe. And I was like, why don't you come to America? Man, Ireland has some amazing drifting, and Dave Egan is an amazing person to know for all this organization and everything.
Yeah. Honestly, he pulled off a huge event.
Yeah.
I've been coming here a few times, and the line to all the stalls and shops is insane. And tomorrow's just going to be crazy, I think. And I don't know how you're keeping up with all the jet lag and jet.
Oh, I'm super jet lagged.
Well, yeah,
but it's exciting to be here.
That's cool. It's really fun.
So, off of that last question, what are you excited about in the drift world where you're going to go and do this stuff? Like you said, you wanted to do some European drifting and everything. What specific events are you going to spend your time, which is very valuable, on?
Honestly, I want to go to the States. I want to do Drift Week, and I want to go at least to see Final Bout.
Okay.
That's the two things on a bucket list that I really want to do. So
that's rad.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing it next year.
You could do this thing in Final Bout.
We might actually.
This would be hilarious. What about in Europe? What's the best thing coming up that you're going to do this year?
This year,
like a very specific event.
I'm not sure yet, but maybe there's a FIA World the Cup of Nations or something. So we might be doing that. We're still not sure. But it's in the end of October. But usually the European season ends now, and our season starts. Like when you came last time, winter was when our season starts. So hopefully I'll be doing EDC, our local championship, and some other rounds in the Middle East.
And how do you choose the events you go to? Do they invite you? Like, did Dave call you up and say you had to go to this?
Yeah, Dave was like, yo, I know we have this event happening. Do you think you can make it? I was like, let's call Darren. Darren, make it happen. We need the car ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it was. The car's been here, but he just needed to wrap it and all that stuff.
Okay. So I have to invite you to a specific drift week and make it happen is what I'm saying. You're not just going to show up.
No, I'm going to show up. No, for drift week, I have to plan it. I'm going to be there.
This is an exciting thing to just test things on. So the one in November features James Dean, who you've driven with a bunch and everything else, and the one in February is going to have Nakamura. So do you think that the drivers are exciting, or just the trip, or the actual tracks, or what's the deciding factor you'd want to do it?
For me, it's the experience. Honestly, it's the drivers. Gatville, if you go, I've been there. You see a lot of international drivers and stuff. But watching all the videos and people going to Drift Week, it's just the experience of doing everything in a week and meeting all these guys.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's a joke, is the name.
But you know what I mean? To do everything in such a short time, it's crazy. And between all the rounds and stuff.
One of the cool things about Drift Week that people don't realize is it slows down a drift event so slow that you get to meet people and hang out with them and have a week of meals, stay in hotel rooms with them. When you're done, you're buddies with Adam, or your buddy was with Chelsea or Matt Field, or you meet all these crazy people. And if you come, we would meet you, and you'd be a character, and you just meet, or Luke. Imagine spending, I don't know if you've really spent 2 weeks with Luke before.
No.
You spend probably 6 hours with Luke, and that's it. Imagine 2 weeks with Luke and all of his children. It gets to be a lot.
Yeah. Luke. I knew Luke before he had his son Boston, and his daughter was really, really young, and he was wild. I think he calmed down. I saw him, I haven't seen him in years. Actually, since last time you guys came. And he calmed down, to be honest. He's a lot calmer than he used to.
Oh, good. I was going to say, imagine his whole family living out of a drift car on Drift Week, all 4 of them inside of a G35, drifting it, street drifting it.
Honestly,
they're still pretty wild.
Bless them.
It gets me so excited to be over here, by the way, and see everybody and all these crazy cars. The Audi is insane. I was looking at this thing, and every car that this guy puts out is so full of character and nuts. And he has such a different way of thinking. I asked him about all the end plates, and he's like, oh, I don't know if they work. How do you tell? And that's a signature piece of all that. His headers were absolutely insane. He seems to always, this is a thing not in America, by the way, the stickers on headlights.
Yeah, stickers on headlights.
Yeah, we always have real headlights for some reason.
And here they're too expensive, and so we just delete them.
I was gonna say it's a weird thing too, though, because Americans always think that they might street drive their race cars because we have the chance. These guys have no chance of street driving race cars, so I think they just go, it's a race car, and just make it 100% race car.
Us too back home, that's why I started deleting my lights and stuff, it's just easier. Less wires. If you hit the wall and dangling lights and stuff.
American drifters will go so far as to use kooky headlights and stuff, specifically because you can buy them on eBay.
Not only that, everyone knows American cars have, the drifters, there's so much style. Like even Dave had an episode of why there's so much style in the States compared to a lot of places in the world. Like back home, I don't recall any other drivers like who do like 3-piece wheels on their drift cars. I do it. I'm starting to stop because there's no use. No one runs anything fancy back home. So it's just different places around the world. It's different.
I think it's an illusion that the drifters in America have more style, because I think that it's just the media that gets to the top that you watch.
Yeah.
You know, like Adam has all these stylish cars and he has the most views, or like, you know, the Final Bout guys, or, you know, whatever portion of drifting that you watch that gets you excited. Yeah. But when you go to a normal event, it's not like that.
I haven't seen anything, like even on YouTube, everything is fancy, bro.
Yeah.
Send me the links, all the unfancy ones.
Well, I mean, no one's running typically 3-piece. Well, okay, these don't have 3-piece wheels, but you know, all that crazy stuff on Drift Week and everything. Because you're going through so much driving and everything else. And they're so heavy. You'd have to lift them and carry them everywhere.
Doesn't make sense, trust me.
How did you not end up with just a replica of like this engine tossed in there? Did you have to hold him back and say, don't go too wild?
This actually was his old FD car. It's spare engine when he was a Falcon. He twin turboed the one that's on the Falcon car. He bought the spare engine. And he's been telling me do a small block Chevy. But the tires are too small.
Yeah.
You've seen the cars, we do LS7s or RHS. I was like, no, I need a small engine. I need like LS2 maximum. This thing is the tires are too little for this. So I might switch up if we can dial, like, I'll see, after the weekend, we realize we can dial in some grip, then we might do a bigger engine.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, I'm so excited. Do you think you're going to win tomorrow?
I hope I qualify. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, come on.
No expectations.
I've seen you drive. You're good.
We'll see how it goes.
Don't discount yourself.
We'll see.
We were up in the judging tower and we were like, God, I hope Adam goes against Colette. We're going to give it to Colette. We're going to knock him out. We're hoping for like all the battles against like...
I'm hoping to battle the other 86, the Driftworks one. I think that will be some nice photos of both of us together. Would be great.
He's really good in that car.
He's amazing. That car flies.
When did you start drifting, by the way?
I want to say 8 years now.
Okay. That Corolla goes back so far that it was on forum builds, if you know what I mean. Like before YouTube and before anything else was built on forums. And then their R32, we were discussing it. I think that's one of the oldest, like, still working pro drift cars in the world,
100%.
which is crazy.
When I first started watching drifting, that was around. I was like, yeah. Both cars are around before I even started, so they've been around for a while. Still, it's like an OG.
So you must have a car that you're building, kind of like your Aston or something wild that no one knows about. What is it? What? Oh, so he does have something.
We have two.
There's a few. Give us a hint. Is it a supercar? Is it mid-engine? You don't have to tell us. But
No, is it considered? Yeah, it is.
mid-engine? NSX?
No.
Ferrari? Oh, is it Corvette or something?
Corvette is one of I'm building a Corvette, but no, there's something else.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it will stop at that. When you can come and see it.
Is it in the Middle East right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're building out my shop.
That's so cool. What did y'all ever do with that RCF?
It's still there, the red one.
Is it? Did you ever drive it or do anything with it?
No, it's still chilling. It's just collecting dust. It's chilling.
So you never drove it?
I drove it a few times, but that was more of a fun car, and like it was the first one, so
Yeah.
I just left it. It's nothing special. It's
So
LS1.
weird.
It was just a stock LS1.
I thought it was like a mast engine or something
no, it was
crazy.
supercharged. Yeah, when you were there, it was supercharged.
Okay.
So it was
You're like, we took that out.
Yeah, we took that. We just I put that supercharger on a truck or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still running. It's chilling.
Man.
You need to come.
Okay.
You need to
I would
come.
absolutely
you
love
need to. Catch
to.
up. There's a lot of cars that change the
In the winter time.
100%.
Not in the summertime.
The boss, we need to.
What else? Is there anything else that I'm not aware of, like an Ebisu out there, anything crazy that's going on? Because you've got to get to places I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So right now, Oman, which is south of our border, they're doing the series that like James Dean, Bagsy, all the guys go to. So it's and Luke. I think Luke went there one time.
When he was driving the E46?
No, that wasn't Yas. That's in the
Okay.
F1 circuit. But this was south of, and it's picking up a lot of international drivers. But we were doing I'm competing in our local series, the Men's Drift Championship, and all the local guys are there. And one of the rounds is literally in the middle of the empty corner. There's a patch of asphalt. It's called Liwa, and it's 2 weeks of mayhem. See all the guys who go up the sand dune and all that stuff.
That's so cool.
So it's like 2 weeks of mayhem around New Year. So you go camping, sand dune, dune bashing, and drifting, and it's like around New Year time, Christmas Eve.
Crazy.
That's one of the craziest things. And I think around 800,000 people go and pass within the 2 weeks, in and out. It's a huge event.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things in the region.
Do they have like competitions for the dragster, like
There's
hill
sand
climbs and
drag,
everything?
Both uphill and flat. Sand drag and uphill. And they have like anything that moves, basically, you race. They have all the freestyle. You've seen the videos on YouTube where all the guys go like 200 kilometers and they just spin.
How have I not seen that?
I don't know. It's a huge event. Huge event.
I was gonna say there's so many things, like I see all these takeovers now.
Yeah.
And like all the people getting run over in the streets in America, by Mustangs and everything. And like I've never seen it in real life. I've never seen like a full video. It's just like TikTok videos of dudes getting their pants ripped off by Mustangs. Did you see that? Yeah, you're like, what is this? Or you see the guy that got smashed and like a Mac 10 or whatever fell out of his pants, and like he picks it up and all the people run. You're just like, what is this?
No,
so ridiculous.
Back home there's a thing where it's like how South Africa have spinning. There's something we have something where they just do freestyle. It's not drifting. They do freestyle drifting, and they just send it till they blow the tires. Basically.
Okay, I have seen that. Yeah.
And there's a competition for them, and it's like a legal way of doing it in Leo.
We were gonna go see that when I was in South Africa, and they're like, it's too dangerous. Like you can't go. And I was like, oh, okay. I had some weird thought for a second. This is the dumbest question ever. I don't know if it ever happened in the UAE. The Corolla drifters, the Saudi guys. Is that still a thing? Or do they crack down on it too much?
On public roads, not as much, but that's the competition they actually have. It's also legal.
Oh, really?
They actually, and there's prizes up $10,000 upwards, and the winner gets a car.
So it became like a legitimate thing.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Only that series, to be honest. They actually the winner gets another Land Cruiser.
Did those guys ever get like better and keep getting like amazing or is it basically the same thing, just like manging a Corolla down the highway and then doing 360s?
Nowadays, like if you can mangy backwards kind of thing and tires go in front. Like if you.
That sounds really complicated.
Yeah, it's weird. They have different judging criteria. I don't know how it works, to be honest, but it's weird seeing whoever, like how drifting we tap the wall, they go all the way backwards. Whoever touches the wall and goes the other way. It's a weird sport. How
do I search it on YouTube?
You find out Dave actually has. He was he was shocked when he saw it because Dave was judging a drift competition the day after that thing. He was like, "What is going on?"
Crazy.
You have to. You come and we'll show you.
Okay. Are you wearing a GoPro in this tomorrow?
Are we? Do we have one? I think we do.
Okay. I want to grab your GoPro footage from it and do that. I'm going to walk around the car. Did you have anything you want to talk about, by the way?
No.
Anything you're excited or interested about? Because you have to realize you have an insane life to all of us, like normal people. Like we don't drive Aston Martins around or like get to like put aero caps on our wheels and just like, they're cool. We have to live within reality.
I don't know. The Bentley that we was talking about earlier, the Bentley drift car is actually it's actually better than I thought.
Black talk, big t-shirt, Billy. Watch on my wrist, but I want that dime. Niggas talk crazy when I pull up in sight. Mile high, run that shit back, bitch, I'm stylish. Black talk, big t-
When you come, you can try it out. You be the judge of that. It's nothing special, but it actually works. But comparing to this, that's the last car I drove. It's night and day. It's so much smaller than.
I was gonna say this just looks as if the steering works and it doesn't have weird Corolla quirks breaking your arms when you're trying to drive a manual rack or something with a V8 stuffed on top of it.
It's so good that I sometimes forget to turn on the electric car.
I was gonna say this just looks like a really, really fun car to drive. And there's a lot of turbo cars out here that you see the guys hanging themselves with, you know, large turbos on small displacement engines and everything else. You kind of have the best of all the worlds here. How grippy is it, by the way? Pretty grippy?
It's really, there's a lot to go. I'm just like a 20 PSI or 25 right now.
Okay.
There's so many clicks to go on the PCs.
I can't wait to see what all the Corolla people think about this thing and everything else. Also, you have to do well tomorrow when building crazy cars. You don't have a choice to like half-ass this. You're gonna win. Oh man, look at this. Is this a part y'all made?
No, he did everything.
I mean, did he make?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay. You're like, I don't know.
I have no idea.
I just tell him what I want.
He literally, I didn't even tell him. He surprised me.
Really?
Literally, I told him.
Oh my
I just
God.
want LS2, dog box, and quick change. The rest is on you.
That is so cool. Do you keep him within like budget and parameters, or you just let him go straight wild?
This one was pretty wild.
Really?
Yeah, this one was actually because it was took a few years to build, and I forgot how much it cost. This one was.
You forget how much it cost. You don't have to tell me. I'm just saying it's so cool. This is one of those things as well. If you drive this a lot and you don't lock this, like that RCF, I never saw it again. You know what I mean? There's a lot of cars I think you guys lock in like shops and the world doesn't see. If you drive this, like in 5 years, this would be an iconic, you know, Corolla that kids would drool over. Like, did you go see the green D1 Corolla out there?
Yeah,
There's the BN Sports green. Anybody see that thing?
Wait, on what side? No.
It's right out front. No one saw the D1 Corolla on display? You did?
display?
Yeah, I was gonna say like that car was driven for a few years in D1 and like we all remember it forever. It would be so cool for this to be like some iconic car.
I hope so. I wish.
You have to be glorious with everything you do. Quit locking things away.
The more you come out, the more we'll bring them out. No?
All right. I don't believe you. I'm gonna be like, I'm coming. You're like, just not answer me. Leave me on the bread. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking your time. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
You guys were the most insane hosts. You like blew our minds on everything. It's so cool.
Can't wait to do it again.
Uh,
The boss ladies.
yeah.
She'll get approved.
If you guys haven't seen that video, by the way, we went through the Middle East. Everything was culture shock from like, you know, going to the bathrooms, going to malls, going everywhere. The temperature, we got lucky, it wasn't too insane, but everything about being in the Middle East is such culture shock for some American kid. And probably the biggest culture shock was like the hospitality, one was amazing. The food was absolutely ridiculous. The entire time the food was ridiculous. And then just like sand everywhere forever. Just sand. Okay, and I had great friends when we went. Chelsea and Matt and all of us had a great time. Okay, thank you very much for watching. See you later. Oh wait, no, we're gonna put GoPro footage in here. Don't turn it off. And like always, Lone Star Drift always has an event coming up soon, and next one is round 5 at the Houston Police Academy, September 24th and 25th. Come hang out with us. And I also want to say thank you to all the sponsors, because we are lucky to have sponsors in the United States, such as BC Racing, Custom Coilovers, WhatMonstersDo.com, NK Wheels, Volino Tires, ECU Master, KBD Body Kits, and Spec Clutch. And thank you so much for watching, all the viewers, everyone that helps out, everyone that comes to the events. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.